Hi beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk to you about being energetically aligned. Being energetically aligned means allowing things to happen in your life naturally, to coerce things to happen. Now, you do need to put effort into things in order to see a positive outcome. You do need to work hard on building your business, on your relationships, on your fitness, on your health, etc. Anything good in your life, you do need to put some amount of effort in order to see a sizable return. But what I'm referring to here is not forcing things to happen when it is pretty clear, or you kind of get the sense that it's not going to work out for you and that it's not meant for you. And a lot of people, especially religious people, will say, oh, well, you have to believe, and if you put in enough effort, it'll come to pass. You just have to keep praying and keep trying and it'll happen. And while I do believe that sometimes we can experience setbacks and that shouldn't be an indication that you should give up, I also believe that we need to be honest with ourselves and acknowledge when something is not for us, something is not aligned for us. Even if we think that it is for us, even if we were told that it is for us, maybe your parents thought that you were destined to become a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher, and tried and you pursued it and it just wasn't working out for you. You need to be able to trust yourself to know that a lot of times our inner self, and God will speak to us through our inner self, will let us know that something is for you and something is not for you. Okay. And sometimes being energetically aligned, it'll also tell you when things are for you. And it'll sometimes sometimes if a door is closed right now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be closed forever. It just means that you are not meant to pursue this thing right now. Maybe there are other things that you need to achieve and accomplish and learn before you're able to enter into that next step. Whatever that is, you need to be able to be intuitive enough to know the direction of your life so that you can flow in the right direction. And the key word here is flow. Nothing in life should be done by force. Even if you think about a riverbed, it has rocks, it has pebbles, it has turns, it has animals, but that doesn't stop the water from flowing. The water may split at some point. Even riverbeds themselves, like they may split into two, but then at some point, the river will either join back into one, or the river will empty out into a larger water source and become one with that source. The obstacles in your life will not stop you from being able to flow, but there is no force, there's nothing that physically is required to make the river flow. The river just flows. And it's very important to be able to be intuitive enough to achieve this, because this could literally make or break your destiny. If you are aligned with the wrong life force, you will notice it. You'll notice that you have a lot of delays, a lot of negative things may happen to you, but also on the flip side, you may also notice a lot of positive things. Once one good thing happens, it's like a trickle effect. It's like showers of blessings where like multiple positive things start to happen at once. Like I remember I had a coworker that was dating this one guy. Like this was right in 2021, right in the height of the pandemic. And she got her real estate license, but she was still working in corporate at our company. And like, as soon as she dated this guy, it's like everything went downhill. Okay. Her deals just wouldn't go through. She told me that like, she would say, wow, like things are just not going well for me. Like I really thought that getting this license would turn out. And this guy, like he seems to be a good enough guy, but like it's almost like he's a catalyst. And the relationship with him, even though she was with him, like the relationship only lasted like maybe a few months, but like the effects of it were like an avalanche. Okay. The effects of it lasted for years. Like I moved on to a new role, another team, and caught up with her a year and a half later, and she was still complaining about things not going well. And I honestly believe that that happened because of that guy that she was with. I know that the pandemic was a rough time for everyone, and obviously I don't know the full picture, but from what she was describing, it's almost as if like this guy's energy wasn't aligned with hers. And so it kind of just threw everything off. And now some people, I'm not going to really get into it, but some people believe in spirituality and they do other things to sort of affect the course of their life, if you will. And he apparently was into that type of stuff as well. And so there are different practices and different techniques that people tap into to help shape the course of their life. And sometimes people will get with you if you look a certain way, if you appear to be successful, so that they can siphon your energy and be able to use it for their own success. Okay. And one of the big ways that people do this is through dating, which is another reason why you need to vet people so carefully and not be afraid to sever ties with that person if you notice that things are just not aligning. And she did say that, she felt annoyed by him, but then she also felt like she really like deeply desired to be with him. And that's how I knew that there was some spiritual funny business going on that guy's end. And he was projecting that onto her. And it ultimately impacted every other area of her life. Like her life was mashed up, and she's doing better now, thankfully, and she hasn't spoken to that guy. But that's just an example of one bad decision can really have a trickle effect on other aspects of your life if you're not careful. This is also why I don't hang around people who are not in a good place mentally, specifically people who are maybe depressed or anxious. And this is not to stigmatize anyone who has mental health issues. That's a very real thing, and we all go through some aspect of trauma at some points in our lives. But that energy to me is like a parasite in that it needs other people's energy to keep it alive. So, for example, like if you've ever dealt with someone who is anxious or depressed, even though people who are depressed, like they tend to be withdrawn and like they'll keep to themselves for the most part, a lot of times they really need validation from other people and they constantly seek it. And sometimes that looks like constantly talking about your problems or constantly asking people for their advice. Even though you've already given advice, they're constantly bringing it up and you're always on the receiving end. It's because the issue is not that they need advice or that they need some validation. The issue is that they're in such a state of unwellness that they're looking for a source to be made whole. They're looking for a source of energy to help counteract the negative energy that they're feeling. And so sometimes that will look like going towards other people who are not well so that, misery needs company. You can get that validation by having someone engage in gossip with you so that you can feel good in the moment. Or sometimes that'll look like leeching off of people who are successful, but that person has no intention of changing their outcome. They just want to kind of look at a aspirational example, like, oh, so and so is such an inspiration. They came from poverty and they were able to turn their life around. But then they'll also say things like, oh, but I'll never be able to achieve things like that. You need to stay away from people who have that siphoning energy because it will negatively impact you and draw away from you. And so if you're in a place in life where you're noticing that things just are not going well for you, 9 times out of 10, you know why. You know where the source is, and you need to cut that source off immediately and be willing to do the work to start from scratch maybe and kind of change the course of your life. Another thing to note is that if a door closes in your life, you should leave it alone. Do not push it down. Do not think of that as an opportunity to try harder or to demonstrate your faith and think that God will open it because you prayed longer and you fasted harder. Don't. You need to trust yourself enough to know that within yourself, you can sense when something is aligned and when something is not aligned. And I feel like people, again, religious people don't give themselves enough credit and will say, oh, no, 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 this has to be God. Like, God, I'm going to try harder and God will open that door. No, he won't, because he's the one who closed that door in the first place. Okay, these doors close for a reason and you should leave it closed. There have been so many situations with individuals and with business deals and where things did not work out. And then when I look back, I'm like, you know what? Thank God that thing didn't work out, because I'm in a much better place now because of the path that I took. Or I'll just find out some things about some very unfavorable, sometimes dangerous things about people that I probably would have been impacted by that if I had stuck around with that individual. So don't force things. And a lot of times, when you can tell that something is not right for you, even though you deeply desire it, is when you feel it physically in your body. Like, for some reason, this one thing causes you stress. Like, you feel the stress in your head. You just don't have any peace. It just, the harder that you try to fix it, even though you have this deep desire, both can coexist at the same time. Everything that you do just doesn't work well. That's an indication that that thing is not meant for you and you need to leave that door closed, because it's probably divine protection. When you constantly pursue things that are not meant for you, it can honestly affect your mental health, because then you feel like, oh, things are not working out for me. Why is it that it's working out for so and so? Like, all these other people seem to be doing well and I'm smarter than that person, I'm more attractive, I'm more successful, but I'm not doing as well. That can affect your mental health and lead to depression. And some of you who are listening to this message, you aren't depressed, you're just aligned with the wrong thing. You're aligned with the wrong energy and you're pursuing the wrong thing, and it's impacting your mental health because it's not working out. You need to let it go. Whether it's that relationship that you're holding on to, that friendship, that career, that apartment, that business deal, like, you need to let it go and watch things turn around for you the moment that you let things go. And you know it good and well. You just need to be willing to be honest with yourself to admit when something is not aligned for you. And sometimes people hold on to things because they really don't know what else to do outside of that. It's like, I've been planning for this my whole life. I've been told that this is what I should pursue my whole life. And now all of a sudden things are just not working out. So you think that staying is better than doing nothing. A lot of times the answer does not come to you because you're connected to the wrong thing. And the answer will soon come to you after you disconnect from the wrong thing and allow space for the right thing to flow and the right thing to come in. Okay, like, think of your life and your body as a container, and think of it as a small precious vessel. It can only manage one thing. It cannot handle two things at once. Okay, so you need to empty out the old bad thing so that the new good thing can flow into your life easily. And again, once you're aligned in one aspect with the right connection, you'll notice that everything else will flow. So you'll notice that maybe you stop doing this one thing in your business, and now all of a sudden you have all these leads coming in, or you have all these new clients coming in, or you are continually getting promoted, or your relationship is much more peaceful. Okay, and for some people it's an easy, simple solution. You just have to be willing to be honest with yourself and say, okay, yeah, this is not for me. And for some people, it's a harder decision because they don't know, again, where to be connected. And it's going to take a lot of reflection, inner work, or honestly patience for you to find out what that thing is. This video topic is not for everyone. There are some people who are simply not going to get what I'm saying. But for those who do, please let me know down below in the comments what you think. Let me know how you stay connected to the right source and how you disconnect from the wrong. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.